I want to talk to you today about being ready for when the enemy comes. The first thing we gotta do is make sure we go to God first. Esther 8:3 says, "Then Esther spoke again to the king. She fell at his feet and wept and pleaded with him to avert the evil plan of Haman the Agagite and the plot that he had devised against the Jews." So Esther went to the king first. So it's always important we always go to our king first, which is God. Esther 4:15 and 16 says that she fasted and prayed for 3 days and told the Jews to do the same. We should always go to God first. Number 2, know your enemy. It's important to know who you're fighting against. Esther 8:5 says, Esther rose and stood before the king, and she said, "If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and if the thing seems right before the king, and I am pleasing in his eyes, let an order be written to revoke the letters devised by Haman the Agagite, the son of Hammedatha, which he wrote to destroy the Jews who are in all the provinces of the king." Even though Haman himself didn't harm the Jews, the letters from him were still in effect, and those who followed Haman were the ones that went after the Jews. So also the message there is be careful who you follow. And you can't go wrong following Jesus. 1 Peter 3:13, "Who is there to harm you if you are zealous for what is good?" Number 3, be ready. Esther 8:13. A copy of what was written was to be issued as a decree in every province, being publicly displayed to all peoples, and the Jews were to be ready on that day to take vengeance on their enemies. The enemy is coming. 1 Peter 5:8 says he walks about like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. And we have to put on the full armor of God so we can stand against the wiles of the devil. And we should also count it all joy to face trials of many kinds. Esther 8:16 and 17 says, "The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor, and in every province and in every city, wherever the king's command and his edict reached, there was gladness and joy among the Jews, a feast and a holiday." And so the Jews celebrated because they knew victory was theirs, because they knew God was on their side. And God is on your side too, so praise his name because the victory is his. 1 Peter 4:14 says, "If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you." And lastly, the enemy is running scared. Esther 8:17b says, "And many from the peoples of the country declared themselves Jews, for fear of the Jews had fallen on them." The enemy knows his time is short. And Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them, but woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury because he knows his time is short."